everyone, and welcome to our regular council meeting of February 10th, 2026. I now call the meeting to order at 5:32 and would like to ask the clerk for the roll call, please.
Mayor Sidney.
Present.
Reevimo.
Present.
Councillor Legree.
Present.
Councillor McWhorter. Councillor McDonald.
Present.
Councillor Sabalski.
Present.
Councillor Andredick.
Present.
Mayor Sidney, we do have quorum.
Thank you. As we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for the many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all of the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Can I please have you stand for O Canada? Any declaration of interest? Hearing and seeing none. Moving on to delegations and presentations. There's no public meeting. We do have delegations though. I would please like to invite Mr. Michael Wright from the Renfrew Area Food Bank up to the mic. And I think you know the drill. Make sure the green light's on. Perfect. Welcome.
Hey everyone. Caroline's my tech support. Yeah, so thanks for having us. I don't know if I've spoken in this capacity about the food bank and the work we do in the community, so I thought it was a good idea to come and kind of talk about who we are, what we do, number of clients we serve, et cetera, et cetera. So next slide, please. So we were incorporated in 1988 by a group of volunteers right here, made up of about 15 volunteers. We have over 100 volunteers that work at the food bank. They're the heart and soul of who we are. I get a lot of the credit for what we do, but it's those 100+ people that do the day-to-day work, and they're fantastic. And whether it be helping the clients like today in the middle of a snowstorm, picking up donations, working our community garden, or preparing meals for our clients, they're the heart and soul of everything we do. We fully own our facility at 8 Argyle Street. We've been there for the last 5 years. We bought that facility in March of 2020, so we all know what was happening at that point in the world, and it was a scary thing, but it's turned out to be in our favor, and we've done 2 additions to that facility since. So we fully serve the town of Renfrew, Houghton Township, parts of Adams and Bromley, parts of Greater Madawaska, parts of Whitewater, and parts of McNabb-Braeside. In essence, if your kids would come to school in Renfrew, then we will give you food, basically. That's kind of the essence of how we determine who comes to us. So next slide. So we give food to anyone that comes to the food bank, and that's important. A lot of people think we have an income check. If you show up at our door, we will give you food. That is who we are. That is what we do. That is our core mission of helping people in need. We do ask for ID once a year just to kind of prove you live in our system. We use a system called Link to Feed, which is administered by Food Banks Canada and Feed Ontario, which are our 2 governing bodies. This is kind of the scary thing that's happened since we've moved. So pre-2020, we were serving about 250 to 285 clients all the time. And I have them called unique individuals up there. That's how we identify the people that come. So And then this past year, we were up to 560 on average each month. That's an increase of almost 100% over the last 5 years. It is shocking. When we moved from the fairgrounds to our current location, I think a lot of people were shocked because at the fairgrounds we were hidden. People didn't see what we did. And now sitting at the corner of Argyle Street, people drive by and their jaws hit their steering wheel as they're driving because they're shocked. So, I mean, we served close to 75 families today at the food bank in the middle of a snowstorm, which is unbelievable that people are in that much need to come out. We saw 122 new families last year. Most of those families were 3 to 4 person families. And that's kind of the scary thing about who we're getting now. We are getting the working poor, people that are working, making less than $20 an hour. Incomes are not rising with the cost of food. And as a result of that, that is the key aspect of that huge growth we're actually seeing. The largest family we serve right now is a family of 9, and we have numerous families of those type working families that we see. It's often asked, how much does it cost to feed our clients? We spend roughly $20,000 a month on food. It's a shocking amount of money of how much we put out to the community and what comes in. And all of that is raised through donations. None of our volunteers are paid. We're all volunteers. And all of that, I mean, we collected close to $240,000 in donations from this community last year, which is outstanding of how much this community gives back and this community cares. It is astronomical. We have no government funding at all to speak of. People often think there's a check comes from the Ontario government or the Canadian government, but yeah, there's nothing. So, and they often think I get paid, and I said, no, I get paid to be a teacher at RCI. I don't get paid to be president of the food bank. That's, yeah, this is my second full-time job. Next slide. The town's been fantastic for us. I want to give a huge thank you to support you annually for the space of the community gardens. If you haven't ventured into the community gardens, it's an amazing experience. We have a dedicated group of 18 volunteers that work those beds over there. And Mike Noon's our chief gardener, we call him, and he works tirelessly to kind of guide the gardeners through that system. Also the invitation to participate in numerous town-sponsored events to raise awareness, collect funds. Those are all things that mean the world to us and allows us to get our name out in the public. And finally, to the staff who support us with donations through the mini food drives, etc. One of the new things, I mean, and why we talk about the idea of why we need money is we tend to get most of our money through tiny fundraisers and food drives. With the rising cost of what's going on, we've jumped on board to the coldest night of the year this year. So this year is February 28th, 2026. This is our first year hosting the event. You may have attended an event in Ottawa or an event at the Grind in Pembroke. They've been hosting it for a while. It's always the last Saturday of February. It's a 4 to 6 p.m., consists of a 2 or 5 kilometer walk. Our goal as a first-time fundraiser is to raise $20,000. We were about 30% of the way there. And having participated in Relay for Life and stuff, I know that 80% of your money comes in 2 days before the event, because humans are procrastinators like everyone else in the world. So the town staff's already had a team come in. We'd love to see council members come out, participate. If you want to come out and walk just as an individual, those are all things that mean the world to us and kind of show the community of what's actually going on, okay? Can you click the link or not? Yeah? It's in the little, it's code out there poster. Maybe? Maybe not. Maybe it's gonna work. Maybe not. No. Okay. Yeah, but it's coldest night of the year, Renfrew. You can look it up. That's where the registration happens. It's one of those things that we're looking for. I'm not as concerned about raising a lot of money this year. I'm concerned about getting people on the ground walking and actually people are seeing what's actually going on. Because that's one of the biggest points, is just showing up and actually recognizing that food insecurity and hunger is a huge part. And we've gone as far as making mini food banks in all the schools this year as well. And that's been a key aspect because food insecurity in schools is huge right now. So, I mean, having those mini food banks set up means kids can actually take food as though coming in the door at the schools and take it home and meet that immediate need that's going on. So, welcome to take any questions you have. I think people always have questions for the food bank about what we do and just don't understand. Feel free to come in anytime. Always happy.
Reading? Oh.
Thank you. Sorry, I was directing traffic. Thank you very much, Mike, for the work that your board has done over the years, especially moving to your own facility was quite an accomplishment, and I believe you've got a commercial kitchen in there and some other things that you didn't have before. So, the thing I always get asked when I go around shuffling for money is, you folks are able to issue tax receipts, you're a registered charity.
Yeah.
Perfect. And would there be tax receipts for this as well when we're out hustling for money?
Yeah, so this is run by an organization that will issue the tax receipts directly, and then the food bank would issue tax receipts, yeah, if any donations come in any other time of the year.
Okay, thank you. And my last question is your 2 and your 5 kilometer walk. Are they on streets?
Yeah, up the sidewalk basically. So basically
Okay.
going kind of up the main street and back. And depending on the night, I mean, talking to the grind, they were like, last night I guess was very cold this night, and they're like, only 10% of the people actually walked. People just kind of stood in the parking lot and had a celebration. But it's kind of, yeah, that idea of what's actually going on and just that idea of what the walk actually looks like. And
Yeah, I participated in the grind one, and I'm not able to walk
Yeah,
in the cold,
yeah.
so I've been there with nice warm
Yeah.
clothes on to welcome people back. So yeah, I just wanted to ask
Yeah.
if that was possible. There's a large staging area or assembly area that people
yeah,
can
we're
just...
meeting the parking lot at the food bank, yes.
Okay,
That's the
perfect.
staging area.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Councillor DeGray.
Through you, Mayor Sidney. Yes, thank you for the presentation. It's definitely eye-opening to see 96% increase over the last few years. That's crazy. Just for the viewers watching, if somebody wants to donate food, can they still drop it off at the fire station and at your facility?
Yeah, so we have donation boxes at Metro, at No Frills, at the Renfrew Fire Hall, or you can drop it in the drop bin on the main door at the food bank.
Okay, perfect. That's all I wanted. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? I'm just going to jump in here. I had the opportunity and privilege to witness the work that the food bank does. My wife used to be on the board. It's a very well-oiled machine with a lot of care and compassion, and you guys do fantastic work. And you know, I know you throw numbers up there, and you know, it's eye-opening, it's heartbreaking. It's great that you're there to meet that need, but I don't think the numbers really don't grasp the impact that you actually do. So on behalf of council, I want to thank you and your volunteers, and yeah, you do great work. So thank you.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, I mean, we have that commercial kitchen that anyone's welcome to use, so if you have any community groups that ever ask you, is there a place we can access? So we have a commercial kitchen at RCI that's the Metro Shared Kitchen, and we have a commercial kitchen at the food bank that are both accessible to, depending how big your group is, for free of charge. So if there's ever any community groups that want to bake for a bake sale or something, those are 2 groups that you can use and access.
Perfect. Good to know. Excellent. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
On to our next delegation, Mr. Randy Powell from the Royal Canadian Legion. Welcome, sir.
I might be a little bit nervous doing this because it's been a few years. First of all, Right Honorable Mayor, Town Councillors, I'd like to thank the Royal Canadian Legion, myself, I'd like to thank you for taking your time to hear from us today. I started a proposal this year with our branch for a year-long fundraiser. So I wrote up a little thing here for it. We'll start it off with the outlook of our Legion branch being bleak, with the best outlook that we may have 3 to 5 years before we have to shut our doors for good. With that loss to the community of Renfrew, all of our poppy campaigns would affect the Renfrew and area community, schools, bursaries, which is paid from the poppy campaign, and all veterans care, which is affected with that as a merit of other things that could be lost to the town of Renfrew. As you know, the Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 148, this is our 97th year. We've faithfully served the town of Renfrew, with volunteer hours of being tens of thousands of hours over those years. Okay, sorry, lost my spot. spent raising money. This is through the area of Renfrew for our veterans, schools, sports, scouts, hospital, and many other, made to one another donation. To quote from a movie, the Legion took an approach of see a need, fill a need. My goal is, though it may be a bit lofty, is to raise $200,000 in 1 year. Even if we don't reach that amount, we can be proud that our branch and our community came together to try, so we can hold our heads high with pride that we say that we gave it our all. If anybody has any questions.
Any questions from council? Review?
Thank you very much. It would be quite a loss. My history with the Legion started in 1972, I believe, when I was in one of the public speaking contests when I was a kid, 12 or 13. So, and then my daughter has done that as well. I remember you from standing frozen on the side of Calabogie Lake a couple of times at Remembrance Day. So why is the struggle? I think I already know the answer. Why the financial struggle now after 97 years?
COVID. During COVID, our furnace went. That was a $25,000 cost that we had to eat with not raising any money because the Legion was shut. The doors were shuttered for that time. Then all our bills started coming due. We were not having money coming in. We are still having a bit of a rough time at getting all of our bills paid down. We did have one company that did come out and paid off what we still owed on our furnace, which is a great help. So that's why we're reaching out to the community, because our next big thing is our washrooms need to be renovated. I'm sure if anybody's been into the Legion, the men's washroom, a 60-year-old building attached to a 120-year-old building, the infrastructure in between is all starting to fail. We're doing patchwork repairs. The last quote we got was $45,000 just for the men's bathroom, another $25,000 for the women's bathroom, just to bring everything up so it all connects back together properly.
Okay, thank you. And I think when I visited a couple of weeks ago, or on Remembrance Day, somebody mentioned the roof as well. Is the roof a project?
So over the hall, we have the metal roof that's over top. Over the years, it has started to leak down. In our ceiling, we have pails to catch the water, and our maintenance guys goes up anytime it rains and empties them out, even though it might be like a half inch or so, but we are starting to see that, so there's some serious risks that coming in to having to deal with that metal roof.
Okay, thank you.
Councilors, you good? All right. Any other questions? Are you looking at like different fundraisers throughout the year, or like one big initiative for the year?
Well, I'm gonna be reaching out to pretty well all the businesses in Renfrew and Calabogie. I'm gonna hopefully try to do the same thing at Calabogie, because our Legion takes care of Calabogie too. So I'm gonna be doing the same thing there. But we're gonna be reaching out to all the businesses. And hopefully, I know it is a lofty goal at $200,000, but when it's almost $100,000 just to renovate 2 bathrooms.
Review?
And Mike, do you have like a fundraising chair or your newsletter chair or someone that processes written documents? Because periodically there are funds come out for accessibility and washrooms and stuff like that in terms of being able to write a grant. Do you have someone, if we find information like that, we can send it to you?
Oh, yeah, we get it all the time.
We get it all the time, okay.
We do apply for it. The last one we did apply for was through Trillium, was for the men's washroom. We didn't use enough words.
Okay.
We gave them quotes and photos and everything and all that, but we didn't use enough words.
Okay, and one thing I might, if I might, Your Worship, is when you do something like that, if you could give us a bit of notice, you know, we could pass a motion and/or just have the mayor go ahead and write a letter endorsing it, and I'm sure the rest of the mayors around the community would as well.
Okay.
So we can add that to it, and if you wish, maybe we can find some assistance to, you know, if you wanted some extra words. Jason adds words all the time, so he'd be more than happy to take a look at it. But no, we could probably help you with that in terms of just editorializing a little bit. Okay, thank you.
So one of the other things that we've had a problem with is also during COVID, our this is, our president asked me to bring this up. Our buffer died, doesn't work anymore. We don't have the funds to buy a new buffer. There's no place in town to rent a buffer. So we were wondering if maybe if the town of Renfrew had a buffer we could borrow, because it's been 2 years since our hall, we've used a buffer to take care of our hall floors and that. I know it's a hard ask, but you never know.
Do two things and ask the CEO, take a look at, if we have an older one that is getting closer to the end of life and we're replacing it, maybe there's an option there, and then we can look at something else.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Sidney. I think the best approach is just maybe you can get in touch with myself and we can see what the options might be to assist you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't hear a single word you said.
No, not a problem. Let's get in touch
Okay.
and we can see what we can do to assist.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, everybody knows the importance of the Legion to me, so I think that's no secret.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. No presentations, on to announcements. So our annual Fruit Fest, Family Day, Winter Carnival, which is proudly sponsored by Girlies Outdoors, is taking place this Family Day weekend, Sunday, February 15th and Monday, February 16th at the MyFM Center. The full event schedule is now available and families can look forward to an exciting mix of indoor and outdoor winter activities for all ages. Enjoy a hot dog lunch, sliding, crafts, guided snowshoeing, family bingo, horse-drawn sleigh rides, maple taffy, Olympic-themed celebrations, public skating, animal encounters with Meet the Keeper, and there's a lot more also going on. Renfrew's first ever Great Canadian Kilt Skate will be taking place Sunday, February 22nd at the MyFM Center on the BEI ice pad from 5:30 to 6:30. You do not need to be Scottish and do not have to have Scottish roots to join this skate. Everybody is warmly invited to take part in this lively celebration of special connection between Canada and Scotland. Last week, Revivo and I had the opportunity to join MPP Billy Deneau along with members of County Council and Council representatives from Whitewater Region, Bon Valley, and the City of Pembroke for a provincial announcement of $38.6 million in funding to support critical water infrastructure upgrades across Renfrew County, including an investment right here in the town of Renfrew. The funding provided through the Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program's Health and Safety Water System is a significant investment in our community. We are very grateful for the province's support, which will help ensure safe, reliable drinking water for the residents and support future growth by strengthening our essential infrastructure. And just a public notice, like many municipalities across Ontario, the town of Renfrew is also facing the impact of province-wide road salt shortage. Following an especially demanding winter, while we prepared by building stockpiles earlier in the season, supplies are now limited and being carefully managed. Our crews will prioritize many roads where possible, which means some secondary roads and residential streets may remain snow-packed or icy at times. We ask residents to expect changing road conditions, use extra caution when traveling, and thank everybody for their patience and cooperation as our staff continue to work and to keep our community as safe as possible, especially today. It was a pretty impactful day with snow. Any other announcements? Review?
Yes, just again, you took the opportunity to thank MPP Billy Deneau, but he was all over this file for us and kept both the mayor and I up to date on it as it was going through the process. I should note, I've been to Queen's Park with him and he's very well received. I was a little concerned as he was new to that gig that it might take him a while, but he's been very forceful in getting our interests out, ours meaning the community's interests, out to the respective ministries. So I think we have a real keeper with him, and not to put any pressure on him, but we always expect big things. So he's more than willing to work hard at it.
And just to echo that, I think we heard and saw at Roma with other ministers, they really, really respect him, and they like working with him. So we're very fortunate to have him. So that's awesome. Any other announcements? Hearing none. Moving on to Committee of the Whole. The Renfrew Town Council convened as Committee of the Whole to consider reports for recommendation to Council. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Degree. All in favor? We are in Committee of the Whole. Moving Moving on to Finance. Budget Advisory Working Group. That the Committee of the Whole received the update on the Budget Advisory Working Group report as information. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Legree. And I will now turn it over to our Treasurer.
Thank you. Yes, so this report is for information for the Budget Advisory Working Group. And originally there was a resolution in November that proposed a Budget Advisory Working Group. And then as we went through the budget process, there was another motion on January 27th, 2026. And that motion has given direction that staff will be proceeding in developing a long-term financial response plan. And so we've interpreted this resolution to precede any future working group. And at this point, we're looking that staff will prioritize and commence this work following the completion of the 2026 budget process in coordination with the 2026 corporate work plan. And so we've brought this for information.
Any questions from Council? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Council. E.3.2. That the Committee of the Whole received the Council 2026 Budget Amendments Report as information. Mover, please. Councillor Legree, seconded by Councillor McDonald. And I'll turn it back over to our Treasurer.
Thank you. So, so this is a report in regards to the Council 2026 budget amendments. This report's to provide information regarding the budget process and to provide an opportunity for consideration of Council amendments to the Mayor's proposed budget. Staff had requested prior to the agenda being prepared if there are any proposed amendments from Council to prepare this report, and we had not received any at that time. So we wanted to have this report to note that if Council does not pass any amendments within the 30-day window of the Mayor's proposed budget, it's deemed adopted on February 11th, 2026. So we had started the budget process in early fall. We'd had several committee meetings, the Budget Committee, with fulsome discussion, updates, questions and answers, also available to for the public to comment and ask questions. We gave answers for those. And then from there, the budget has gone to from the committee to the Mayor, and now it's at Council. Thank you.
So I just want to remind Council that if there is any amendments, this is the time to do it. So if you have any, Councillor Legree.
Through you, Mayor Sidney. So just a question actually to Treasurer Hodge. So just because the strong mayor's powers is all kind of new to us all. So if nothing happens tonight, automatically tomorrow, February 11th, it automatically goes through with no vote or nothing, just as this is it right now. Is that correct? Just so I'm clear?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. And do we vote on it at all now, or with the strong mayor power, there's no vote? First question.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I was trying to...
No problem. Round two.
Thanks.
To you, Mayor, do we vote on this individually, or with the strong mayor powers, it's just up to you to move it forward?
Yeah, so unfortunately with the strong mayor powers, I believe that's the case, but I'll get the clerk to just clarify all the important details.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. So it's part of the process. So if no amendments are put forward, the 30-day time period does lapse. And if that's the case, then the budget is deemed adopted. And I will note that the 30-day period ends tomorrow. So if no amendments are put forward tonight, or theoretically tomorrow, but it needs to be a vote of council, so it would have to be held at a council meeting, then the budget as it stands is deemed adopted on the 12th.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. And I'll just give my opinion then. If I had a chance to vote, I'd vote against it because I do believe there's more efficiencies that can be had. But I respect the way the process has to go for now. And I think I want to put things in context. If I, to you, Treasurer, what did we end up at for the levy for the town?
So if you go back to the presentation we had on January 27th, I'm just going to grab that slide here just so I don't round it by 1 decimal point incorrectly. The effect on the dollar effect on the levy increase is 7.73%. And we also provided with that slide number 9 in that presentation the effect on the overall tax rate calculation, which will be what we'll see come forward in a tax rate bylaw once the budget's been adopted. And with all the factors of growth and the different classes of tax assessments, that number works out at 6.71. And in that slide, we also showed that would provide a tax increase annually of $153.82 on a median valued home of $172,000, which is the median value in the town of Renfrew.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you. Although I may not be satisfied with it, I understand the dynamics and the issues that we had to deal with. And just to refresh people's minds, we started at basically a 7% just to absorb the issues we had from 2025, if I recall correctly. And I guess to the reeve right now, and to put this in context with what we're ending up with, I think, did the county finish their budget and we're in a sort of similar range with regard to levies?
Yes.
Okay,
yes, it was finished, if I might, Your Worship, through you. It was finished, and I believe we passed the bylaw tomorrow. So the rate was, I believe, 6.63 as well.
Any other?
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Anderdick.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney, and through you. And obviously, with all due respect to the strong mayor powers, this isn't anybody's fault in this room where we're at today. However, I'm super frustrated with the fact that, yeah, council had involvement in getting to where we are, but ultimately we don't have a say and we don't get to vote yay or nay. And politically, I think that's wrong, because we were all voted in to represent the citizens of Renfrew for our own unique thoughts on the process, and now that's been taken away from us. And I too would be strongly against this budget. I think we could have did a lot better as a team. However, we're here where we're at. We'll respect the process, but I think it's important that the public know that I would vote no if I had the opportunity to vote no on this budget. So thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Oh, sorry, Councillor Gray.
Through you, Mayor Sidney, I'll make a comment too. Yeah, I'm not happy with 6.71 either, but first of all, I want to thank all the directors and senior management team. I know they spent hours and hours and days and weeks going through line by line of the budget, looking for every dollar and penny we can save, cut from it. Council too, I know I went through I don't know how many times line by line. But the problem, we've had lots of issues that came forward, bad away, stuff like that we had to work in over the last few years with this term. And you push stuff off, it's like a snowball effect, right? The more you push off, the bigger you need to deal with it next year. So it's kind of like starting at the 7% we did this year because of the issue last year. So I want to thank everybody. I think everybody did work hard. It's not where I want it to be, but I think to keep the service, and I heard that from the majority of residents, they don't want a massive cut in service, then I think we kind of are where we are. So I do apologize at 671, but it is what it is, I guess. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? So I'm going to jump in because, believe me, I'm not a fan of the strong mayor powers when it comes to the budget at all. I don't disagree with any member of council. I also, I think we'd all want it to be zero if we could. I think that's just the reality. We would love it to be. Nobody wants their taxes going up. I don't want my taxes going up. But I think there's other things that we have to take into account that I don't think are really put out there. There's things that are out of our control, like the OPP 11% went up because of their ratification. That we have no say in that. That's out of our control. So automatically policing goes up 11%. We are, there's a number of similar municipalities to our size that are within the 5.9 to 7% range that they came in. I do want to thank the staff for the tremendous work that you did. I want to thank the council for the amount of meetings that you held and went through line by line and came up with this, and then reviewing it and looking at it. I even met with the treasurer and deputy treasurer and CEO this morning for a couple hours, still looking at it. But at the end of the day, to Councillor Degree's point, it's the level of service, and I think Renfrew does exceed the minimum maintenance standards on certain things. So the question is, you know, if we were to bring it down and we had to cut services, how do you pick whose street doesn't get plowed? Because that's what it would do. So it would be, yeah. So, you know, in order to keep the level of service to where we've established it, and I've heard from people all the time, don't cut services. So, you know, I think we have a great, we offer great services, and I think, you know, in order to do that, we need to set it where we can, and I think we've taken it down as far as we can without cutting services. I think there's a longer term vision though to sort of soak up that 6% over long, like try and figure it out with a financial plan, and I think we're going to be looking at that for the rest of our term anyway, to see how, you know, through blended services, through, you know, what services could we cut, can we cut, anything like that. But at this point, it's the strong mayor powers are here, unfortunately, and for the budget part. And yeah, so I thank council for your hard work. I thank staff for your tremendous cracking numbers and going through it line by line over and over again. So I really appreciate that. Review?
Apologies, I wasn't going to say anything, but I think I will. I find it hard to keep quiet sometimes. I think, you know, in fairness to the public, they should understand that we were wrong-footed from the get-go. You know, we got preoccupied with the feelings around strong mayor powers. Everybody was somewhat angry or frustrated or upset about it, and I don't think we understood it as quickly as we could have. Not that there was any guidance. You know, there was a series of generic regulations spit out by the province very quickly in June, I believe, or July, and then they kept amending them or tightening them up as we went along. So we were wrong-footed right off the hop, and we didn't set a target, and so staff unfortunately came in with the budget, then we sent them back to tighten it up, to carve things off, to push things off, to do things better. So, you know, a number of things played into that, and the reality is. There are a lot of federal and provincial regulations that dictate, if not levels of service. Water and wastewater are a prime example, and we're going to talk a little more about those tonight. They're a prime example of ministry regulations which cause either reinvestment in old equipment being upgraded or investment in new equipment. Periodically, there's a regulation or some substance in the water that causes a change. You know, the manganese distributor that we put in a couple of years ago. We've had to put in the rotors in the tower. We're putting in new filters at the water filtration plant. So all of those things are not investments that when the plants were built in the early 2000s, people knew about ahead of time. So that's just one example. And then you take a look at the changes in pavement. Pavement no longer lasts as long as it used to. Concrete's gone up and will continue to go up. So there's any number of things keep pushing it down the road. What happens also is that we're not adequately compensated by the federal and provincial government for our infrastructure, which they use to make money off of. They wouldn't have gas tax if there weren't roads. They wouldn't have land transfer tax if there weren't water and sewer plants to fund new builds. They wouldn't have personal income tax if people weren't employed or able to live close enough to where they work. So they have to come to the table and pay their share. It's nice to redo the defense system. It's nice to invest in 400 series highways. It's great that they're investing a little more in rural health care, but at the same time, they have to recognize they are a partner in infrastructure. They can't just drop little envelopes of money once every 7 years or once every 12 years after 18 years of begging for it. So we really, they need to talk to us. So all of that said, those aren't excuses, those are explanations, and that's part of the balance of coming into a budget. And, I think it's time for, the average person, like ourselves, to start saying to the various levels of government, when are you going to invest? So those are the part of the things that are going in. We have some older infrastructure. Yes, we have some older buildings. Yes, we have pipes in the ground that are a little too old. And we're getting to that stuff as quickly as we can, but it's balanced by a lack of revenue. And so we need to be able to have predictable revenue sources. So not an excuse. I'm not happy with the amount we ended up at. I'm not sure what we could have done to make cuts that weren't strategic or that weren't going to limit or hamstring the municipality moving forward. It's easy to cut the capital side, but all it does is, as has been noted, is push it down the road. So your road goes from a pavement condition index of 75 down to 58. Well, when it gets down to 58, everybody's looking for suspension or new tires or new rims. So you don't want that. You'd like to keep it at 65 or 68 if you can. So those are the kinds of things that we're trying to aim at. So it's a bit of a moving target to decide what assets get renewed. But congratulations, seriously, to everybody. I know we had some really frank conversations, and I want to say thank you to council, because it would have been easy to start grandstanding and have everybody pick a project and try and muscle one vote at a time, but nobody did that. We had some really good, honest conversations. So, I certainly appreciate that, and staff too. So, thank you.
Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. And to the Reeves point, I really think your motion you brought up 2 weeks ago, I think we may need to make it a priority, and especially for the next council coming in, if we can start to streamline and, we're talking about the original ice pad. That may have to be looked at in the next year or 2 or 3. Snow blowers for the heavy machinery we have. I think we need timelines with regard to what we can project for expenditures coming forward. So I think it's very important, the motion you brought up, and I'd like to see it to be a priority for this council, so at least we can have a good handoff to the next one. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm just going to wrap this up here. So, and the question was asked 2 weeks ago, did I give council a target? And the answer to that is no, I didn't. And the reason I didn't is, and I'm not speaking on behalf of any of you, I'm just totally assuming here, we all wanted it to be as low as we could get it. So, just get it as low as possible, and I think that's what we did to keep the services. We're here. The other part is, to Reeve Emo's point, Renfrew is a unique, a lot of people are the same, but we're kind of the central hub of a lot of townships that are around us that those students go to school in the town of Renfrew. People live in those townships but come and work at our fantastic hospital or things like that. Well, our infrastructure has to meet that demand. The high school has to make sure that the water's good, the toilets flush, all of that stuff. But it's not just kids from the town of Renfrew that go to school there. So we're looking at around 20,000+ people that we have to make sure our infrastructure is strong enough for. And, that's on us to make sure we do that. So that's the other thing. So any other questions about the budget? So I'll just read that the Committee of the Whole received the Council 2026 Budget Amendments Report as information. We have a mover and a seconder. Any other questions? All in favor of receiving the report? That's carried. Thank you, Council. E.3.3, the municipal funds for legal advice report. I would like to ask Council, with their blessing, if we can defer this to a future Council meeting. Can I have a mover for that? Councillor McDonald, second. Councillor Swalski, all in favor of deferring it? Carried. Thank you, Council. Moving on to policy review. that the Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the proposed amendments to the procurement policy and that staff be directed to bring forward an appropriate bylaw for adoption. Mover, please. Councillor Degree, seconded by Revimo. And I will turn it over to the Treasurer.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. So this is draft C of the policy review for the procurement policy. On October 21st, we first looked at the procurement policy review. It was presented. At that point, it was tabled until October 28th for some additional time for the committee members to review the proposed amendments. Then at the meeting of November 12th, there was an additional update requested regarding not permitting members of council to submit bids for town procurements while they are currently sitting member, and that a legal opinion was to be obtained regarding this being a part of the policy as an additional measure beyond the existing requirements of declaring a pecuniary interest. So the legal opinion was received on that. It was not included in draft C. This draft is presented without the additional change of exempting sitting members of council from submitting bids having been added to the policy. So therefore, it allows the existing mechanisms of pecuniary interest to continue to function and apply for the procurement policy. It is attached. So we had draft A, which were updates for technology changes and formatting to the steps in the policy that were the focus of those review changes. For draft B, we had added the part that council would be circulated design phase, and that was a new clause that was put into the policy, so the council would be have the information as projects were progressing and not too far into the development of a project. And then this draft C, there's no changes from draft B. The legal opinion was just for information, not included, and it's draft C just to organize a continuity of the review. And the recommendation of this is to bring a bylaw forward with the policy that's attached to this report.
Perfect, thank you. Any questions from council? Hearing none, Revimo.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just looking for, it was in number 3, roles and responsibilities, and I'm going to try and give you the exact wording. Darn. So my recollection of it is, and I thought I highlighted it, where it says that you shouldn't knowingly schedule the purchase of something over 2 years. That's kind of an age-old habit of, I'll say mine on occasion, to try and make it work. And so I don't remember where it was, but I do remember reading it. I'm wondering if there's a way of rewording that a little bit, or making it a little clearer, because I think it does say members of council, and it does also talk about staff. And so my apologies, I can't seem to find it, but I did see it in there. So I'll just leave that. I'm sorry. It's in there somewhere. It's either 3 or 4.
Any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor? It's carried. E.3.5, Renfrew and Area Health Service Village follow-up. Again, and I'm going to apologize to the Deputy Treasurer for this. I would like council support to defer this as well. It's not time sensitive, and we're just taking cautious of the weather for anybody that has to travel. So if I could have a mover to motion that. Revimo?
Yeah.
Second by Councillor Sobolski. All in favor? That's deferred. Thank you. On to Infrastructure, Public Works and Engineering, award of the purchase of a loader. That the Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council receive the report titled Award for the Purchase of a Loader Follow-Up as follow-up information, and further approve the award for the purchase of a 624P wheel loader for Public Works to Brent Deere at a cost of $414,061.44 after trade-in, including non-refundable HST. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Legree, and I will turn it over to Director Bishop.
Your Chair, thank you. So the replacement of the town's existing wheel loader was identified and approved in the 2025 capital budget. The town had issued submission specifications to 3 canoe vetted vendors, and we had received submissions from 2 vendors, CAT and John Deere. So a report was brought forward on December 9th for the award for the purchase of a loader. And following discussion, the original motion was withdrawn and staff was directed to reevaluate the options. So the CAT 938 wheel loader was over budget, and that was our original recommendation. So we were directed to research and compare 3 loader options from Toromont CAT, including the 938, 930, and 926 wheel loaders. Staff discussed these options with Toromont CAT and reviewed specifications for the 3 models. And while there are many similarities, there are some reductions in operating weight, hydraulic output, and capacity in the smaller models, which are the 930 and 926. And I just want to note that the original specs for Canoe were developed based on the town's existing loader and were intended as minimum requirements. So there is a 6,000 pound difference in operating weight between the 938 and the 930 models from CAT, which comes from the frame, counterweight, and bucket. And the loader is routinely used with a boom and other front end attachments. Operating weight and ground stability then are very critical. The front end attachments have ratings for weight, and fully extended may lift the rear tires. So selecting a model smaller than the 938 would result in some operational changes. Therefore, it's not recommended that a lower model be selected. So there is a revised recommendation now at this point, and it's based on the town's recent experience with a rental unit from John Deere. So staff have had the opportunity to operate a demo loader for several days under typical working conditions, which allowed for practical evaluation of performance, functionality, and suitability for Public Works operations. Staff were satisfied with the loader and confident that the John Deere model would suit our operations. And while the town has actually not previously owned any John Deere equipment, it is a well-established and reputable manufacturer. The equipment performed well, and the purchase price of the John Deere loader is under budget after trade-in.
Any questions? Councillor Legree?
Through you, Mayor Sidney, I'm not sure if the treasurer wants to take this or Director Bishop, but I'm just wondering with the trade-in of 28,000, sometimes we put stuff on gov deals and sometimes we trade in. Is there a better way to go, like, or I guess it's kind of a hard question, like just, so this loader, this used loader didn't go on gov deals at all to be advertised prior to?
Treasurer?
I think some of the things you might take into consideration are the trade-in gives you a tax credit on your sales tax as well. So, but also a piece of equipment like that, I haven't spoken with Public Works specifically about that piece of equipment, but gov deals may have limited qualified buyers, whereas the dealership would know how to handle that and to float it, and other people may not have a way to transport it readily. So those are the kind of things I would take into consideration, whether it would be considered surplus or just traded as part of the sales contract.
Thank you. Yeah, it probably makes sense with the tax saving piece of it on the off. So yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. And I will, Councillor Anderdick. No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney, and through you. So the question, I guess I have 2 questions, and the first one is we're now, the town wants to go with the John Deere. I need glasses, I'm sorry. We're going with, oh, hold on. There we go. I can make this bigger. So we're going with the 2008 Cat IT 38H. That is what the town wants to go with now.
Director Bishop.
Through you, Chair, that's our existing machine. So that's the one we're going to trade in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, through you, Mayor Sidney, so the town wants to go with the John Deere loader. Okay, so the next question I have, and this is very important. If we approve this tonight and we purchase this, no one's coming back in a year and saying this is a piece of crap and we want to trade it in. This is 100% what we want, and it's going to meet the town's needs.
Director Bishop.
Through you, Chair, that is our understanding right now, yes. We had not had any John Deere equipment in the past, but based on the demo and just the reputable company and the functionality of the machine that we're looking for, I think it would suit us just fine.
I would have felt more comfortable with a firm yes. All right. Thank you so much, Director Bishop, and thank you, Mayor Sidney.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Zabolski? Question?
Just through you, Mayor, and thank you, Director, for entertaining my delay in getting us under budget. I didn't do the comparison, but apples to apples, it obviously meets our minimum, but in comparison to the CAT, is it square or is it taller? Is it a better piece of equipment, apples to apples, or is it meeting our minimum spec and you guys are happy?
Director?
Through you, Chair. It's very similar, although the lift capacity and the horsepower are slightly higher in the John Deere.
Any other questions? And I will note that it did come in under budget, so that's always nice. All right, hearing no questions, all in favor? Carried, thank you, Council. E.5.2 Renfrew County ATV Club parking. Once again, this will be the last one I'm going to ask Council support on to defer, just because it's not time sensitive. Oh, they're here? Oh, sorry. We will do this one then. I didn't realize you were here. I apologize.
A little upset.
That the Committee of the Whole recommends that the Renfrew Town Council receive the Renfrew County ATV Club parking report as information, and further that staff be directed to bring forward a draft memorandum of understanding and associated bylaw for adoption. Mover, please. Revimo, seconded by Councillor Legree, and I will turn that over to Director Bishop.
You and through you, Chair. So the Renfrew County ATV Club approached the town of Renfrew requesting that parking areas be designated for use at Haramus Park and Mattaway Park. So at times, organized rides may attract up to 60 trucks and trailers, and as a result, the RC ATV Club is seeking designated parking areas to better manage traffic and improve safety for participants and the general public. It is noted that as a result of the pending review of the development potential of the Mask O'Brien block, which includes Haramus Park, which is right beside the Visitor Information Center, any MOU should account for the possibility that future use of the parking facilities may be affected by the outcome of that review. So the RC ATV Club has requested that the town enter into a memorandum of understanding that would allow trail users to park in designated spots at Haramus Park and Mattaway Park. Implementation would require additional line painting and installation of appropriate signage. Feel free to ask any questions. Thank you.
CEO, did you want to jump in now?
Thank you, through you, Mayor Sidney. Thanks to the club for being here this evening. Much appreciated. Thank you for the request. So I think this initiative dovetails quite nicely with the Ride Renfrew initiative that the Economic Development Committee is moving forward with and starting to discuss. So this probably makes some sense to come back to the committee for some discussion about how this connects, what other initiatives might make sense together with something like this. Obviously, parking is very important for vehicles and trailers and unloading and whatnot. Just if council, at the pleasure of council, it might make sense to refer this matter for some consideration. I think what we're saying at the staff level is that we have no particular concerns with the use of the VIC in the park and ride, or painting the appropriate spots. So from an operational perspective, from an economic development perspective, I think it's maybe worth a conversation about the importance that ATV tourism plays in Renfrew's economy and as part of the Ride Renfrew initiative. And I don't know if Councillor Sobalski may have some comments in that regard too. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to jump in here too, that I think, sorry not to jump ahead of you, but is this something, it's a question for you actually, is this something, so if we pass this tonight, this is just saying that we want to do this, we want to have parking spots. It's kind of an operational thing, but could you have it on your next agenda for economic development? Just so you're in the loop and working together on this?
My ask, and I believe the CAO already summed it up, and I'm going to speak to you a bit because you're here. Town of Renfrew doesn't see any operational issues with it, so that's a really good thing for you to hear. But my request would be to have them come to the Economic Development Committee before we pass this. I believe that sitting there and going through the process that we did today with the Active Transportation Alliance group with the cycles was a really wholesome and healthy discussion, and I believe to come and have a discussion with you in the economic development, we can find a really good placement. And I'm not saying that I actually support this, it's just I would like to further the conversation a little bit more within the economic development group before just saying yes. Not saying that that's a no.
So, question being, if we pass this tonight, it's basically saying, yes, we're going to have parking spots for you. Then can you not work with that through the committee to work with the club, have the club come in and still work with the town, like work with staff?
Through you, Mayor, I would like to have a discussion about the MyFM parking area. And not to pull from it, but I do believe we are restricted on how much parking space we have, and I myself being someone with ATV, snowmobile, and bicycles, to pull into a parking lot with a full-size truck, full-size trailer, in a parking area that we're limited to, I do believe that Mattaway is worth a discussion. So I don't want to say yes and put us in a bad spot. I would prefer to ask if we could defer.
Okay. Councillor, so you want to defer?
If we could defer it to the ECDev and come back with a wholesome idea, because we have a bunch of stuff that we're bringing forward from that committee.
Councillor Dick?
Thank you, Mayor Sidney, and through you. So I love this idea. I think it's a great idea. 100% support it. What I would like to see happen, I was going to suggest something a little different than what Councillor Sobalski was saying. Here's what I was thinking. This is Committee of the Whole, correct? Okay, so we're in Committee of the Whole. So I hear what Councillor Sobalski is saying by going through the ECDev committee, but then it's going to be bounced to the ECDev committee, then it's going to be bounced back to us. So what I was going to suggest is maybe it's awkward. You guys are right here, and I'm supposed to go through, but what I would suggest is we have them. I would be in favor of this tonight. Then it goes to council, out of Committee of the Whole, and we still have a chance to vote yay or nay. But I would strongly suggest that maybe Director Bishop, because she's the originator of this, is write a letter to the club and say, come and do a delegation so council can ask you 150 questions. We're not going to ask 150, but we're going to ask some questions. I just don't want to see this kick down the road, meeting after meeting after meeting. But I do agree with Councillor Spolsky. I'm out there on the weekends, some weekends in the summer or in the fall, and that place is jam solid. And there's no parking. And that's not saying there's a solution, but I'm telling you, sometimes, like, we had a ball tournament out there was a hockey, like, people were parking on the grass because there was no parking. So I'm in favor of voting for this tonight to bounce it to council, but hopefully town staff can write the ATV club and ask them to come and do a delegation when we have to vote on it. Those are just my thoughts.
CAO? Oh, sorry.
Thank you. So just listening to some of the conversation around the table, it sounds like the March 10th Economic Development Committee meeting might be the meeting to have the ATV club out to talk about the proposal, and then they could come for a delegation on the 10th to council as well. I believe I'm in line there. And then plan to come back to council or consider this particular motion on March 24th, once there's been some time to consider it.
Councillor Legray?
Through you, Mayor Sidney. So yeah, I'm in favor of this. The ATVs, they bring in a lot of dollars to the town, and they do lots of good stuff. I am concerned with parking, like Councillor Sobolski and Councillor Dick, because 60 spots at Mattaway is a lot. I know definitely during hockey season, because I go out there now and I can't find a parking spot. A lot of times we're parking like where we shouldn't be. But I do figure we need to figure this out. I don't know if I want them coming to do 2 delegations. I don't think, if that's what you said, I don't think that's necessary. It's not. We're trying to, I think this council wants to kind of speed things up. That's what we all kind of talked about when we ran. So I wouldn't want to see the group have to come back and do it to the ACDEV and then come back and do it to council. I think, I'd be fine either way, but just 1 delegation. Thanks.
Councillor Sobolski?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. And my sales pitch, you heard the term Ride Renfrew. It's something that's being slowly worked on, and there's a potential motion coming. Actually, there's a motion coming to council for us to have another discussion on activating staff. So this request from me wouldn't be just to listen to parking spaces that benefit you. My request that I hope comes through is that you can come and do a presentation to us so that we can work with you to find out what benefits you guys along with us. That's the intent of Ride Renfrew, and that's the intent of the economic development meeting. If we can manage to get you guys there, I'll happily have a pre-meeting conversation of what we are working towards and have a wholesome conversation that benefits everyone. That's the intent of the economic development, Ride Renfrew.
Councillor Andrew Dick?
Thank you, Mayor Sidney. And through you, and to echo what Councillor Sobolski just said, and as he was talking, I got thinking, we were at that ECDEV meeting this morning, and we have other people there that are not councillors. We have business owners in Renfrew, and I think exactly what he said. I know it might be a little bit more work to come to 2 meetings that day, but I think it only benefits the club in the long run, because you're bringing in business owners for the community that they'll buy into it. So yeah, so I agree with that and what CAO Withers said. Yeah, I like that idea. Thank you.
Councillor Legray?
Through you, Mayor. So can we amend this?
Yeah.
Would be
Clerk?
my question.
Yeah, there's a...
Through you, Mayor. No, I think at this point the motion is on the table as it is. However, that doesn't mean that there isn't options to defer. I do have some wording in mind, but I would say if I could put that wording forward, or if there's any other comments before we do that, we can certainly.
Any other questions? Councillor Legray?
So just a follow-up, Mayor Sidney. So we could vote this down and then put a new motion on the floor.
That is correct. You could vote this motion down and put a new motion on the floor. However, if you vote it down, I'd be cautious on what motion then you're going to put forward, because if you're killing the proposal or the initiative,
yeah.
I would say if council's still very much open to wanting to have further conversation and defer the discussion at council and also refer the discussion to the ACDEV advisory, I can read out one of my wordings or...
So I think we can proceed with this tonight, because it says we receive it as information, and then further staff be directed to bring forward a draft memorandum of understanding and associated draft bylaw for adoption. So that doesn't preclude these folks making the presentation to your group. I don't think we would need them bring them back in the evening, because either yourself or Mr. Collins could preview that same presentation. So I think we're perfectly fine to go ahead tonight, because we're not committing to anything other than staff going ahead and doing some work on it. And Greg's here, so Greg, I'd like to see a little more flesh on the bone between you and Director Bishop and Mr. Hanrath at the county, because we've talked about the entrance off Mask Road, and maybe there's a further discussion about an entrance onto the Millennium Trail off of the oval at the back. That could be the parking solution, is to put everybody back there on overflow days, and make that their parking area for all the seasons. That seems to make, because it's secluded, and if you put a culvert in and an entrance way out on the Millennium Trail, that then allows them to get out either directly onto 132 rather than coming back all the way through the grounds, and being worried about going past the dog park or people running across the road to get something, a cooler out of the car in front of the ball fields. So I think that might be the option, is to take a look at whatever the memo of understanding is. It's going to have a series of schedules, like Schedule A, Schedule B, whatever. So I think it makes sense to go ahead. This allows everybody to go ahead and commit resources. It doesn't preclude your committee getting first crack at it and trying to weave it into your vision.
And further, the Reeves right on all accounts. So just for the people here, I think what you're hearing is we totally support you and we want to work with you. And I think there's bigger and awesome opportunities that are still able to be discussed. But I think, if this is approved tonight, I think the Reeves correct. It just opens up the communication. Then what I would recommend is somebody make a motion to refer to the ECDEV committee.
Respectfully, I think the chair has the opportunity to put things on the agenda. And he has control essentially of that agenda or approval of it. So, I don't think we even have to direct it to him. He's aware of our feelings, aware of his feelings, just to save time.
Perfect. That's good. I'm good with that. Any other questions, comments? All in favor? Carried. Thank you, council. Moving on to the Renfrew Town Council rise from the committee of the whole. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Legree. Any questions? All in favor? That's carried. We are out of committee of the whole at 6:44. On to external boards, committees, and county reports. Downtown BA meeting minutes for November 10th and December 15th. Councillor Legree, do you have anything you'd like to highlight, or it's all good? If anybody has any questions, reach out to Councillor Legree for sure. Renfrew County District Health Unit Medical Officer of Health Report, January 27th, 2026. Revimo, do you have?
Thank you. Very quickly, if you take a look at it, the what I'll call the flu shot regime is going very well. When you look at the page that talks about the number of doses of COVID-19 and flu, 60% of them are being, over 60% or roughly 60%, are being administered by other than the health unit. So that's a really good, and the numbers are up around 20,000. So that's a very good return rate, at least I think anyway. And when you turn to page 5, I believe it is, page 4, I'm sorry, and the drug strategy, in 2023 there were 42 deaths, in 2024 29 deaths from opioids, 2025 12 deaths. You take a look at the 2023 emergency room visits, 69 for opioids, 2024 was 83, and 2025 is down to 52. So what's happened? There's the drug strategy first, and then secondly, there's MESA. That came on stream, so that has certainly helped manage people's safety. And then I'm going to bring a report to you in the next little while about the Heart Hub. It's been in operation, and we did a soft launch about 8 months ago, so that's really helped as well. So, kudos to the community for stepping up and developing a whole series of strategies within the drug strategy. So that was essentially all that I wanted to tell you about. And so the mortality rate reduction is one of the largest in Ontario. So we are getting looked at again as a prime mover in protecting and enhancing the health of our residents. That's all I can report to you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none. Renfrew Power Generation Q4 shareholder summary. Councillor Legree, do you have anything?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. So I sit on Renfrew Power Generation along with Councillor Andrew Dick. Attached is the quarter 4 summary, which is from October 1st to December 31st. I'll just quickly highlight just a few things. Generation for this quarter, Q4, was below target again due to the below average participation and seasonable cold weather. Watershed, water flows remained at a 30-year low, resulting in generation below target for the quarter. Despite these operational impacts, RPG successfully met all financial obligations. The RPG board did a tour of the dams that were responsible for along the river system. And under legal, the Mutual Avenue land matters have been completed with our plan deposits. This cleans up the land ownership issues alongside the river with RPG, RHI, and the town of Renfrew. And then upcoming activities, they're working on system drawdown, year-end 2026 budget, energy contract lobbying, which we did at Roma, which went well, and snow sampling and ice sampling continues. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none. Moving on to items for consideration. That Renfrew Town Council waive fees for advertising on the electronic signboards at a cost of $225 plus applicable taxes, and grant permission for the Renfrew Area Food Bank to display one advertisement per month for the remainder of the 2026, and further that the waived amount be allocated from grants to organizations' budget. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Legree. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Council. We stand with Survivors Campaign. The Renfrew Town Council approve a banner being hung for the month of May at the Renfrew Visitor Information Center in support of Women's Sexual Assault Center, Renfrew County 8th Annual We Stand with Survivors Campaign and Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Mover, please. Revimo, seconded by Councillor Legree. Revimo.
If I might, is there the opportunity for us to craft a message or take one of their messages and put them on the electronic boards for free as well? So I think it makes sense to push that out. Not everybody comes in through that one exit.
Sure, we can look into that for sure. Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Sidney. I have no issue with what Revimo said, but I think it's important that we ask them before we do that. Absolutely. To make sure that's something they want.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Yep. So, any other questions about the banner? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Council. Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus news release. For information, Revimo.
Very quickly, Your Worship, if you take a look at their recommendations, they talk about the fiscal framework, which I talked about earlier. They also suggest that small and urban and rural municipalities receive tailored support because the one size doesn't fit all mindset. It doesn't work for us. Invest in trade and transport enabling ports across Eastern Ontario to strengthen the H2O, which is highways to water. And that's what we've been proposing for the last 10 years. We talk about 417 to 416 down to the 401 corridor. And then the Paramedic College, the other thing is that OPP services remain affordable, transparent, and sustainable. We've all heard those messages. And then include more rural and small urban communities as part of the Building Faster Fund. A lot of Building Faster Fund money went out, but not much went to small municipalities. We are one of them that didn't receive anything. And homelessness, AMO produced a report recently that says there's 85,000 people that are homeless right now in Ontario, up from 80,000 last year, and 10 years ago it was 40,000. So there needs to be something. So all 7 of these recommendations, I think 5 of them came kind of from the county of Renfrew, so I'm really proud of that. And the other 2, I think we tailored. And then when you take a look at the asset management, we're talking about water and wastewaters tonight. You look at those numbers are in here. And if you go further into that, you're going to see the Township of Whitewater region. They gave us their numbers, and we got them included in the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus paper on this. What it says is smaller municipalities have a lower ability to manage and maintain these systems, and it places a larger cost burden on the homeowners. So you take a look at the numbers, the populations, and then the cost per household in that chart, and you'll see why we're having some conversations later on. So we have taken local issues and made them provincial issues. So I just wanted to draw your attention to that. Thank you, Your Worship. I think that's all I can tell you. There's lots of other things in there, but that's the most important stuff.
Thank you. Any questions for the Reeve? Hearing none. Moving on to confirmation of minutes. That Renfrew Town Council confirmed the minutes of the special meeting of council held on January 22nd, 2026, the regular meeting of council dated January 27th, 2026, and the regular closed meeting of council dated January 22nd and January 27th, 2026, understanding they remain confidential. Mover, please. Councilor McDonald, second by Councilor Degree. Any questions on the minutes? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Resolutions. My screen just went blank. There we go. All right. The Renfrew Town Council adopt the final resolutions considered in the Committee of the Whole of January 27, 2026. The first one, that Renfrew Town Council establish a Renfrew Sports and Recreation Wall of Fame Working Group, approve the draft terms of reference, and direct staff to bring forward the required bylaw for adoption, and further that Renfrew Town Council appoint 1 council member and 1 staff member to the working group, and that the appointed council and staff member be authorized to appoint the remaining community members in accordance with the terms of reference. 2, that Renfrew Town Council enter into a planning service agreement with the County of Renfrew to provide planning advice, assistance, and services to the municipality on an interim basis due to the town planner assuming the acting chief administrative officer for the term of the acting appointment, and further that an acting bylaw be brought forward to the February 10th, 2026 council meeting for adoption. Number 3, that Renfrew Town Council approve application number D/14/156 zoning bylaw amendment for Lansdowne Municipal as 23 Booth Road, having a roll number of 47-48-000-020-17375, and further that the amending bylaw be brought forward for adoption. And 4, that Renfrew Town Council authorize staff to proceed with the award of a tender 2025-16 IPWE for a single-axle plow truck to Freightliner North Bay in the amount of $379,626, excluding HST. And 5, that Renfrew Town Council authorize staff to proceed with the award of a tender of a 2025-17 IPWE for a 1-ton 4x4 pickup truck to Mac Mackenzie Motors in the amount of $118,046, excluding HST, and to be funded from the equipment reserves. Mover, please. Councillor Degree, seconded by Councillor Sabowski. Any questions? Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney. And at the last Committee of the Whole meeting, I did declare on number 4. So I will keep that declare. I've already declared on it. I'm just not going to vote on number 4 tonight. I don't think we have to do another piece of paper, do we? Oh.
So, through you, Mayor. So, yes, you always, if you've declared, then you have to declare again, because you declared in Committee of the Whole and now you're in Council. So they are 2 separate. So, yes, you will need to fill out another form. So you have 2 options. Either we can separate this out if you'd like to vote on the other items separately,
or you remove yourself
Just to make life easy, I'll just remove myself from them all. We're okay. And then I'll just fill out the paperwork.
I will provide you with the form after the meeting.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? All right, that's carried, with taking note that Councillor Andrew Dick did not participate in the vote. Matters arising directly from committee. That Renfrew Town Council adopt the final resolution considered in Committee of the Whole on February 10th, 2025, E.5.1, that the Committee of the Whole recommend that Renfrew Town Council receive the report titled Award of the Purchase of a Loader Follow-Up as follow-up information, and further approve that the award for the purchase of the 624P wheel loader for Public Works to Brant Deer at a cost of $414,061.44 after trade-in, including non-refundable HST. And mover, please. Councillor Legree, second by Councillor Andrew Dick. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Council. Moving on to bylaws. That the bylaws listed on the agenda February 10th, 2026 be read a first, second, and third time and passed. 2026-07, execute non-eligible collection agreement with Miller Waste Systems. 2026-08, Renfrew Sports and Recreation Wall of Fame Working Group, terms of reference. 2026-09, planning service agreement, County Renfrew. And 2026-10, zoning bylaw amendment for 23 Booth Road. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Legree. Any questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Council. Motions of which notice has previously been given. Councillor McDonald, Water, Wastewater, Municipal Owned Corporation. That Renfrew Town Council direct staff to investigate and report back to Council on the feasibility, risks, benefits, and full implications of incorporating the Town of Renfrew's water and wastewater services under Municipal Owned Corporation utility, and furthermore, staff assigned to Minister Flack's office to consider his vision and the legislation Bill 60 in the final report. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Legree. Councillor McDonald, do you have anything you want to add?
Thank you, Mayor, through you. And I see this more of a joint motion along with the Reeve. We've had conversations about this concept that came out of the Romer conference last month. And if the Reeve has anything he wants to top up on, I'll leave it up to him. Thank you.
Reeve?
Bill 60 allows this to occur. So Bill 60 passed in November, and it was buried in there because what it did was it also gave Peel, 3 municipalities in Peel, the opportunity to take over the services as a corporation. And it was also buried because there was some stuff under the Rental Act, there's Development Charges Act, and the Land Use Planning Act were all changed. But so this is an opportunity to bundle together important services. It also allows cross-municipal jurisdictions. So this is not going to be a quick fix. It takes a public asset, which is water and wastewater, and it allows the utility model in ways to fund the growth of the infrastructure. It then allows you to form a board with specialists, whether it's people with engineering backgrounds, whether it's people with finance, whether it's people with governance. So you can have that expertise readily at hand. Municipal infrastructure, water and wastewater is 37% of Ontario's municipal infrastructure value, and so it's quite a large thing. We are not immune to the pressures of it. What it does too is take off the debt from your financial information returns. One of the things we'd have to be careful about is that we would ensure that we could take the debt for the water and the wastewater plant or the water plant, because it's still going to be ongoing. Wastewater should be coming off in the next year, so that debt payment could be taken off. And I would suggest to you any debts that are tied to underground piping and lift stations and pump stations would also be attached to that corporation. So on the surface, it looks like a good idea. Don't know how it's going to look like. Do we join with, for the sake of argument, Arnprior, Whitewater, Boncher Valley, Deep River, Chalk River, Pembroke, Petawawa, and Madawaska Valley. Some or all of them may fit. Chalk River system is small. Deep Rivers is not more and more attached to the nuclear labs. Petawawa's is twinned with the armed forces, with the garrison. So not sure how any of that would work or if it would work. We do know that Frontenac County next door has set up, or 2 municipalities over, has set up a municipal services corporation for their new developments using the technology. I can't remember the name of it now. So it is something that's going to take some time, and we likely will have to have partners because I think it's something that's going to need bulk. But the benefits to my eye is that the borrowing costs could be cheaper, and any government funds that are available, we can make an application on behalf of that corporation and turn them over. So there is a nice potential, and it probably will be faster for that corporation to conduct their own infrastructure reviews and upgrades than having a department bring it to council wait till budget, and then move it along, whereas they have their own budget. They would operate at arm's length only with people appointed by council sitting on their board. So I really think it's a way forward, and I'm pretty impressed with the province that they've actually thought about this, and it's only taken 4 years. I'm not being sarcastic, but we mentioned this to them and to the Premier and Minister Clark at the time in 2020. So this is lightning speed for the province to actually come up with this and allow the innovation. So I'm really excited by it. I know it sounds strange, but I'm really excited by it, and I think it's a good step forward for us.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Councillor McDonald, independent third-party legal review. That Renfrew Town Council direct the acting chief administrative officer to obtain an independent third-party legal opinion regarding a potential breach of the town's procedural bylaw arising from the cancellation of the regular scheduled council meeting on Tuesday, September 9th, 2025, and further that the CAO assume administrative carriage of the matter together with the previously submitted January 13th, 2026 notice of motion respecting the acting mayor's procedural decisions at the special council meeting of December 2nd, 2025 to receive and address the Integrity Commissioner's investigation reports. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Agree. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Council. Any notices of motion? Hearing and seeing none. No closed. Confirmatory bylaw. The Renfrew Town Council adopt the confirmatory bylaw 2026-11 and that it be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Sobalski. Any questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Council. Upcoming meetings, regular closed council meeting February 24th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Regular council meeting February 24th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. Economic Development Advisory Committee March 10th, 2026 at 10 a.m. And we are officially adjourned at 7:04. Thank you, Council. Appreciate your cooperation.